Hello and welcome to Ageless Rock channel. Today, we are going to check out an interesting but lesser known underground city in Turkey. It is called Agirnas Underground City, which is in Melikgazi district of Kayseri province. The words underground city have come to a different meaning in Turkey because there are so many of them. But if you wear your megalithic lens, you will see that they are not cities human would stay or hide. Cappadocia is a region famous for its ancient inhabitants who were once obsessed with carving bedrocks with ancient chisels. Some underground carvings were so incredibly huge that it is called a city. Turkey is said to have 200 underground cities, but that includes the extremely big and the very small. Despite the large number of underground cities, only 36 are open to public and many are small or unexplored. Agirnas Underground City is one of the archaeological sites you can visit in your next vacation. Agirnas means land of the altar in the Luwian language and also means earnest man in Arabic language. Agirnas not only has an underground city to attract tourists, but also has plenty of tunnels and chambers carved straight from the side, obviously with no intention of hiding, because it is wide open for you to see. Even more suspicious is that the cliff also seems unnatural. It looks like someone sliced the cliff like a block of cheese. This is something I noticed being repeated at megalithic sites around the world. There is no reason to carve the site to make a facade that attracts attention if it was meant for hiding. If it was meant for living, there would have been doors and windows and every inch is a useful space. The most common layout you can find on the internet is also the one that is available on site. From the scale given below, I can see that the underground system open to public is approximately 80 meters long diagonally on the layout. According to the tourist info sign, there is a small church, food depot, store gates and living spaces. There is a large hall 24 meters long and about 4 meters high. But this layout doesn't seem to be a natural design humans would design. It looks more like a natural habitat of underground animals that burrow into the ground. The next underground city is in Subasi village. It is about 3 kilometers southeast of Agirnas. The layout is the same random tunnels and chambers that looks more like something burrowing animals would do. It has 3 entrances and is said to have defensive structures. The ceiling is noticeably low and the chambers are connected within approximately 100 square meters. This underground system doesn't look very big, but anything that resembles a labyrinth is loosely called underground city. It is said that the millstone doors on the northwest is a defense structure, while the north and south millstone doors are not. There is also another layout of Agirnas underground city with the name Mimar Sinan Yeralti Seri, which means Architect Sinan underground city. This diagram is the most elaborate. Agirnas is the birthplace of the famous architect by the name Koca Mimar Sinan Aga. He was born as Sinaneddin Yusuf and was the chief architect for Suleiman the Magnificent in the 16th century. Sinan the architect's house was restored in 2008 and is now open as museum. It has a vast underground tunnels and chambers that connect to neighboring properties. Those connections were blocked by owners with stones to prevent intrusions into their properties. There are many points of exit to the top, which makes me wonder why so many holes if it was meant to be a hiding place. Under Sinan's house, There are 4 stone doors to block the enemies, but I am not sure how this round stone can save anyone from attack. A circular stone door is not a door to me because there is no doorknob. It can be closed from one side but toppled from the other side. This underground system must have gone through extensive renovation before opening to public. I am very curious, why would human carve bedrock for safety but digs dangerous vertical tunnels at random locations with random sizes and random depths? This is opposite to common sense. If there are 10 families rushing to safety but have to make sure their kids do not fall into these fatal vertical tunnels. Clearly, this is not what Sinan the architect would design, but yet everyone in ancient times did it. Something is wrong with the picture. Another underground labyrinth is found about 100 meters from Sinan the architect's house. It is located beneath a house that belongs to Mustafa Bozdemir, who opens it for tourists. It was in 2014 that Mustafa was clearing an area under his house, and he accidentally discovered a tunnel system larger than he would expect. He immediately contacted the governor and also Culture and Tourism Directorate. They were given permission to excavate, and it turns out they needed about 100 truckloads of soil to reveal tunnels and chambers spanning 4,000 square meters. It is believed that this was a defense structure, but later used as warehouse or a barn in the 12th or 13th century. This is very strange to me because it sounds like the villagers were so busy hammering into the bedrock, they didn't have time to remove the rubble. But it was mentioned as soil instead of rocky rubbles. How did 100 truckloads of soil got into the tunnel? Did ancient villagers here just kept hewing the bedrock for decades without actually living or hiding inside? Many will readily believe that this was done by a community of villagers over a long period of time. A large room like this, chiseled out of volcanic turf, will require planning and supervision of a well-organized society. Otherwise, everyone involved will chisel a 2-bedroom apartment for themselves. Whether it is a community project or an individual trying to make a room for himself, there will always be enough kitchens and toilets proportioned to the residents. But that is clearly lacking here. Instead, what we have are so-called holes for tying animals, and it's believed that some animals were tied here. Some call it torture holes because it is also believed that humans were tied and tortured here. In India, at the famous Ellora cave site, there is a cave with plenty of such holes. Cave number 1 of Ellora cave is called torture cave because locals has it that screams were heard from this cave. Imagine victims tied up and tortured scenario. This cave is also consequently known as Evil Cave. There are many cavities hewn into the bedrock all over Agirnas village area. They are known as caves for dwelling. Some are believed to be a tomb. In reality, we have no idea to any of the spaces hollowed out. We are only guessing based on what we can do today, and is therefore what they did in the past. For example, this arched facade with rectangular entrance without any door is said to be a possible Roman tomb carved out by Romans or created during the Roman times. But the nicely cut straight line found at Akbin Valley seems to be a machine cut. The entire vertical surface looks like it was sliced like cheese from the top of the bedrock. The row of niches at the top seems to make the front looks less than perfect. Is a very odd addition. It is also a trademark of a megalithic culture I loosely call gear track marks. It is said that there is a church, and I believe this is the corner because it resembles the one in Mazi underground city in terms of architecture. If this is a church, it will be a dangerous church. There are two vertical tunnels you can see that it can be fatal. There must have been a lot of very devoted Christians here in Agirnas in ancient past. Enough for them to actually want to worship God while hiding from enemies. There are several circular stones found at Agirnas. This one is without any hole in the middle. It is ridiculous that anyone would design something like this to block enemies from entering. Try and imagine to live and roll when enemies are here. This circular stone has a hole in the middle, and archaeologists praise the ancient inhabitants of the entire Cappadocia as very smart for coming up with such an idea. But a door without a doorknob is already too obvious it is not a door. There are many questions you can ask if these doors for defense is actually a good idea. They are very heavy and will take time to close and are very hard to manage. They don't fully cover the tunnel and therefore enemies can still smoke you out from the other side. There are many chamber designs that make no sense and of no use to humans in any way I can think of. They are creepy and dangerous in the dark. The typical features of the tunnels are clearly not of humankind. Some tunnels are suddenly low while some are suddenly high. They can suddenly be narrow and suddenly broad. Chambers can be suddenly big and suddenly small. With each discovery, we can only guess what certain areas are for and then praise them endlessly. With niches on the wall, we praise the ancient Anatolians as hardworking for making shelves for storage. But we forgot to ask what is so great about holes on the wall when you can just have boxes. What about the holes on the floor? Do you think ancient villagers carved these for storing things in times of war? If it was used as storage, it is because they were already there. As a simple conclusion from what I see, the underground system is creepy and has an architecture not of human nature. The fact is that those who carved this were doing it from any part of the bedrock. If they were for dwelling, then it would have been carved by the one who wants to live inside. He would have living room, bathroom, and a kitchen. He would have door with doorknobs. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this short presentation on Agirnas underground cities that feel like creepy cities for ancient villagers. See you in the next video and have a wonderful day. This is Penyong signing out. Sonra Guru Surus Gule Gule.